The words hung in the air of our minimalist living room, sterile and sharp, like surgical instruments. "I'm going on a girls' trip with Chloe," Clara said, not looking up from her laptop. Chloe. The name alone was a splinter under my fingernail. Not just any friend, but Chloe, the sister of her ex-boyfriend, Mark, the man she dated for 5 years before me, the man whose shadow sometimes felt so long it stretched all the way from his new life in Chicago into our quiet suburban home. I kept my voice even, a carefully constructed mask of casual support. "Sounds fun." The ellipsis was silent, but it was loud in my head. 1,000 questions ricocheted against my skull. Since when were she and Chloe best friends? I'd met Chloe twice. She was perfectly nice, but their interaction seemed more like a polite obligation, a vestige of a past life Clara claimed to have left behind. A girls' trip level of friendship? It felt fabricated. Yeah, she found this amazing all-inclusive resort in Florida, a last-minute deal. Just sun, sand, and margaritas. "I need a break," she added, finally looking at me. Her smile was bright, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. Her eyes were guarded, holding a secret I wasn't privy to. For 5 years, our marriage had been my bedrock. We were a Liam and Clara, the couple everyone said was rock solid. We built a life together, brick by painstaking brick. We'd survived a miscarriage, my father's death, and the quiet erosion of early passion into comfortable companionship. I thought we were unbreakable. But lately, a hairline crack had appeared, and I was terrified to press on it for fear the whole facade would shatter. It started with her phone. It was always angled away from me, its screen dimming quickly if I walked into the room. Texts would come in late at night, and she'd reply with a furtive smile before murmuring, "Just my mom." But her mom went to bed at 9 p.m. Then came the new wardrobe. She started buying clothes that were different, more daring. She bought a slinky black lingerie set, claiming she wanted to spice things up. But when I initiated anything, she'd plead exhaustion. The lingerie remained in its tissue paper, a silk and lace accusation in her drawer. I tried to talk to her. A week before the trip announcement, I'd found her staring out the window, a melancholy expression on her face. "Is everything okay, sweetie?" I asked, wrapping my arms around her waist. She stiffened for a fraction of a second before relaxing into my embrace. "Just tired," she'd said. "Work has been brutal." It was her standard deflector shield, and I, the dutiful husband, accepted it. Now this trip, with Chloe, it felt like the culmination of all those small, unsettling changes. My best friend David was my only outlet. We sat in our usual booth at a sports bar, the drone of the game a backdrop to my spiraling anxiety. "Am I crazy?" I asked, swirling the beer in my glass. "She's going on vacation with her ex-boyfriend's sister."
A woman she barely knows. It makes no sense. David, ever the pragmatist, chewed on a fry. Maybe you're overthinking it. Maybe they reconnected and genuinely hit it off. Claire's been stressed. A trip could be good for her, for you guys. But why her, Dave? Why not her sister? Why not Sarah from her office? Why Chloe? I don't know, man. But accusing her without proof, that's a grenade you can't put the pin back in. He was right. An accusation would be a declaration of war on a marriage that was already feeling like a cold one. So I helped her pack. I watched her fold the slinky black lingerie and place it carefully in her suitcase. "For me?" I joked, trying to sound lighthearted. She just smiled, that same disconnected smile. Maybe. The kiss she gave me at the airport 2 days later was brief. A peck on the lips that felt more like a formality than an act of affection. As I watched her walk toward the security gate, a wave of dread washed over me, so powerful it was almost nauseating. She didn't look back. That first night, the house felt cavernous. Every creak of the floorboards echoed my loneliness and suspicion. I tried to watch a movie, but my mind was a hamster wheel of doubt. I opened my laptop, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. I felt like a snake, a low-life husband spying on his wife. But the alternative, sitting in ignorance while my gut screamed that I was being played for a fool, was worse. I remembered the name of the resort she'd mentioned, Sunset Key Paradise. I typed it into Google. The website was a cascade of turquoise water and smiling couples. I clicked on their social media tag, scrolling through an endless feed of honeymooners and anniversary trippers. And then I saw it, a post from an hour ago, a picture of a poolside bar, a half-empty pina colada in the foreground. The caption read, "Finally made it, ready for a week of sun with my love." The user was Mark, her ex-boyfriend. My blood ran cold. It was him. It had to be him. The trip wasn't with Chloe, it was with Mark. Chloe was just the cover story, the alibi. Every defensive text, every secret smile, every piece of the puzzle clicked into place. I felt a volcanic rage building in my chest, followed by a hollow, soul-crushing emptiness. David's warning about grenades echoed in my ears, but the pin was already pulled. The explosion was inevitable. I didn't sleep. I just sat in the dark, the glow of the laptop screen illuminating my face as I stared at his profile picture. By dawn, I had a plan. A terrible, self-destructive, necessary plan. I threw a change of clothes into a bag, filled a thermos with coffee, and got in the car. Sunset Key Paradise was an 8-hour drive away. 8 hours to think, 8 hours to hope against all odds that I was catastrophically wrong. The drive was a blur of asphalt and regret. I replayed our entire relationship in my head, searching for the moment it had all gone wrong. Was I not attentive enough? Did I work too much?
Did she ever really love me, or was I just a safe harbor after the storm of her relationship with Mark? I arrived at the sprawling resort just as the sun was beginning to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. I paid for a visitor's pass at the gate, my heart hammering against my ribs. I felt like a ghost, haunting the edges of my own life. I walked through the manicured gardens, past laughing families and couples holding hands, my eyes scanning every face. I found the main pool, the one from Mark's photo. The tiki bar was lit with torches, casting a warm, inviting glow. And then I saw her, Clara. She was sitting at a table near the water's edge, her back to me. She was laughing, a genuine, unburdened laugh I hadn't heard in months. My breath caught in my throat. I prepared myself to see Mark turn around in the chair opposite her. I braced for the visual confirmation of my deepest fear. Someone stood up from the other chair and walked around the table, placing a hand on Clara's shoulder. My heart stopped. It wasn't Mark. It was a woman with long, dark hair who leaned down and kissed Clara, a deep, passionate kiss that left no room for misinterpretation. As she pulled back, her face was illuminated by a torch. It was Chloe. I felt the world tilt on its axis. My carefully constructed theory, the one I had spent 8 hours solidifying in my mind, crumbled into dust. This wasn't what I had expected. This was a betrayal so profound, so layered, it defied comprehension. It wasn't about her ex-boyfriend. It was about his sister. The lies weren't just about infidelity. They were about her entire identity, about the very foundation of our life together. The secretive smiles, the lingerie, the distance, it wasn't for him. It was for her. I stumbled backward, hiding behind a large palm tree, my body trembling. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I pulled out my phone, my fingers numb and clumsy, and took a picture. Not as evidence for a fight, but as proof for myself. Proof that this was real, that I wasn't losing my mind. I drove home in a silent, trance-like state. The anger was gone, replaced by a grief so vast it felt like it had a physical weight. When I walked back into our house, it felt like a museum of a life that was no longer mine. I didn't smash things. I didn't scream. I simply began to pack. I carefully folded every piece of her clothing, bubble-wrapped her favorite mugs, and placed her books in boxes. I worked through the night, a methodical, soul-destroying purge. By the time the sun rose, all of her belongings were stacked neatly by the front door. She came home the next afternoon, canned and glowing. She was holding a tacky snow globe with a plastic flamingo inside. "For your desk," she said, her voice bright and cheerful. Then she saw the boxes. The color drained from her face. Her smile evaporated. "Liam, what's going on? Are we moving?" I didn't raise my voice. I was too tired, too broken. I just looked at her, the woman I thought I knew, and felt nothing but a profound, aching distance. "I hope you and Chloe had a wonderful time at Sunset Key Paradise," I said, my voice flat. Her eyes widened in panic. "What? How did you? It's not what you think." "Isn't it?" She finally broke. Sobs racked her body. The excuses and explanations came pouring out, a torrent of confusion, of suppressed feelings, of her own hidden turmoil. She said she loved me but wasn't in love with me. She said she was scared. She said she didn't know how to tell me. Each word was a tiny shard of glass, embedding itself deeper into my already shattered heart. I listened until she was finished. When she looked up at me, her face streaked with tears, hoping for a flicker of forgiveness, she found none. "The cheating is one thing, Clara," I said, my voice finally cracking. "But you let me think I was going insane. You gaslit me. You made me question my own reality. Our entire marriage? Was it all just a lie?" She had no answer. I pointed to the boxes. "Your things are packed. Please leave." She left. The sound of the front door clicking shut was the loudest sound I had ever heard. I stood alone in the living room, surrounded by the ghosts of our life together. I looked at the empty space on the wall where our wedding portrait used to hang. And for the first time since I saw that picture on my phone, I let myself cry. Not for the woman I had lost, but for the man I used to be, the one who believed their life was rock solid.